must hurry to the other elders, or I'll poke you with my little cane. There we go, and toss him back. Hey guys, it's Adam aka Swimming Bird, and welcome to The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD. Last episode, we wrestled a wrinkly old rock man to prove ourselves worthy enough to enter the Goron Mines, our next big dungeon, and we've completed the first few rooms, but I was working off of decade-old memories, so I did a little bit of prep, and we're ready to burn through this place, no pun intended there. We're gonna take on the dungeon proper, starting with this chest over here, being guarded by some Bulblin. Let's finish this guy, and grab the first of quite a few keys that we're gonna need to make our way through. But while we're doing this, I figure maybe let's talk a little bit about the mines and the Gorons. The Goron have always been one of my favorite Zelda races. Maybe they are my favorite now that I think about it. They're just kind of interesting. I don't know. They're usually very friendly outside of this game at first, but they're an interesting race. And this place, it seems like they kind of live here. They have altars at least, which are basically sumo rings where they practice wrestling, but it makes it feel like the mines are basically the Goron's home, and it's got to be nice to, live in a giant steak or a giant eggplant or whatever you want to call it, because they can basically just dig in the ground and grab a rock and eat that and live off of that. And I think that's part of why the Goron are so long-lived and pop up in a bunch of games. They don't seem to change too much. And speaking of change, these are the version of the Dodongos in this game. They're more gecko-like. They're smaller, they don't hit you when they spin around, so they're a lot easier to take down, and they have a giant tail, so that's their big weak point. But yeah, the Gorons, they first showed up in Ocarina of Time. I remember being afraid of them at first, because I was like, what the heck are these giant rock men? I thought they were enemies, and sometimes they look like rocks just rolling down the mountain, so I was a little confused, but I realized that they're just, they're just cool guys that want to help you out. They're buddies, they're brothers. But yeah, they're around in most of the games. In Wind Waker and Skyward Sword, you don't see them too much because there's a lot of those games that, take place in water and the sky, not the best place for rock-dwelling creatures. But they are in there, and they haven't changed appearance too much over time. So I think I mentioned a few of the kind of influences on the Goron. I think they're based a little bit off of macaques because they do have kind of monkey or ape arms and legs. They've got the axolotl rock-eating quality, but also they're a little bit tortoise-like. They've got kind of a shell on their back, and they live a really long time without changing too much. Can we make that? Well, at least you guys get to see one of the most horrible deaths for Link. He only loses a little bit of health when that happens, but just does not look fun when you jump into lava and he goes full, Terminator there. Doesn't give the thumbs up, but that's okay. I want to be able to jump over that, but Link's like, nah. The Dodongo are at least dead, so we have to pull that chain and then make our way over here pretty quickly, which can be tough with these little lava plumes all over the place, but we'll make it happen. So yeah, the Gorons, and then also one of you guys, Cool Chow in the comments mentioned, they're kind of based off of armadillos a little bit too, the way they roll up and roll around for protection. But yeah, it's interesting that they only first showed up in Ocarina, so they're obviously not in the earlier games in the series. And if you look at the kind of dark timeline with the original Legend of Zelda, they're just nowhere to be found, which kind of assumes, we got to Indiana Jones this, there we go. It wasn't that intense. It kind of goes to speculation that the Goron were just wiped out in that timeline when Ganon was able to reign supreme. So it's a little sad for them, but at least they're in most of these games, and they don't seem to evolve or change much, unlike some of the other races. But yeah, they have this kind of fraternal order to them, and I think they might be a little bit based off of a certain group in Japan. And before we get into that, I did want to show a new mechanic with the iron boots. We're going to be using a little bit of their magnetic qualities to walk on the walls and the ceilings on this weird magnetic stone. But it's a nice twist on the iron boots. Instead of using them just primarily to go underwater, we now have a way to get to new areas. And here is the first of the Goron Elders. This is their altar, but it is like a sumo ring and training area. They're pulling around giant wheels and doing all the stuff to get strong so they can win in wrestling matches. Hey, little guy, let's take a look at him. He's got a cool stone beard, but he also has little mini volcanoes on his back. How you doing, buddy?
I thought I felt a presence, but what a surprise to find a young human.
Word has come to me of you, and if Goron has faith in you, then your heart must be true. I'm one of the 4 Goron elders. Amoto is my name. You are heroic, young human. Please, you must lend this tribe your power. All right, we got a key shard. We need all 3 to return the big key to its original shape. That is one of the key shards that, when merged together, form the key to the room where Darbish is being held. He's our patriarch. The key is split into 3 pieces. Each of us elders keep a piece. You must hurry to the other elders, or I'll poke you with my little cane. Anything else, buddy? The other 2 elders are at altars into mine. They are praying. Collect all 3 key shards and save our tribe's patriarch. He suffers under the power of evil. All right, and back here, this will be a little helpful in any dungeon. We're gonna grab the map. And it's in a fancy big chest, but it's always funny to look at the little one. It's like, we're not going to waste good chest material on just rupees, but we'll grab this while we're at it, try to save up as much as we can. There we go. So yeah, the Goron, in this game, they've got a lot of different designs to them. Usually they all pretty much look the same, except for a few, special ones. And in Majora's Mask, we got a bit more of their backstory. This is one of the toughest things in this game, getting Link to line up with a chest or a ladder. There we go. Sorry about that. We also have a little spiritual stone looking gem back there. There's a few of them. I don't think they're the spiritual stones, but they are the right colors. And we've got handprints, which is another sumo thing, putting those up on the wall. Over here, we're gonna meet an old buddy. This will help us out as well if we do need to leave, because otherwise, if we come back to the dungeon, we'll be put back at the entrance.
Phew, free at last. Gracious, you're that nice fellow who helped me out the other day. How nice to see you again. Well, now that we found each other again, let's stick together for a bit, I'll be right with you. If you want to run out, just let me know.
Now, Link doesn't have his weird expression. He's used to Ooccoo, and she is helpful, as creepy as she is. All right, so we're going to continue on here. But yeah, the Gorons in this game have a bit more diversity to their design, and other than maybe Majora's Mask, we get the most of some insight into what their society is like a little bit. And they like hot springs a lot, but the weird part about that is that in this game at least, whoa, getting weird perspective here. In this game at least, they all seem to have tattoos, which if you look into some Japanese cultural stuff, tattoos are a big no-no for hot springs because they are associated with the Yakuza over there, the Japanese mafia. So if you have tattoos, even if you're a foreigner who's probably not in the Yakuza, then they won't let you in most hot spring areas. And this is a huge room where we could just wander around all day, but I'm gonna go to the stuff that we need. This corner over here has a little chest that we can get to, and then we'll be headed to the proper part. I can show you guys on the map there. There it is. So yeah, you could wander around here for a while, but it helps to just know, go into this corner and then go straight for the door, so you're not just looking around at torch slugs forever. But yeah, I mentioned the connection, it seems like, with the Japanese Yakuza, because there's that, they call each other brother all the time, which is kind of a Yakuza thing. Aniki is kind of a term of respect or endearment for a higher up. It's a little weird if they call Link that. They might be, I have to look and see if it's actually it's just translated as brother, but I'm curious if it's like little brother or big brother to kind of show their respect. But they've got that. Most of them seem to have tattoos in this, or at least some type of marking on them. They love the hot springs, and there's just a few signs that they're kind of like a more nice, endearing version of the Yakuza, or at least based off of that. And one thing I was going to mention with the hot springs that I didn't think about, we were just by the shop on Death Mountain there, and we got to go around a little bit here to get past this guy. There we go. Getting knocked off by these is not fun. We're going to go around and loop it. Yeah, this is a huge room. But yeah, the little hot spring, they sell milk at the shop there, and that's a thing. When I originally played this, I didn't realize, but I took a trip to Japan with Danielle last November and learned, though, that that's a big thing for going to an onsen or a hot spring. When after you soak in the hot bath, a nice glass of milk is very refreshing, and it is actually. I did get a little bit of the milk there. I can't remember. I think it was like coffee flavored, but they had a vending machine right there with glass bottles, and it really made me think of Zelda. Not just the fact that I was in a hot spring area, but also because of the milk, like drinking milk. I wanted to, put my hand on my hip and drink it, but I would look like a crazy person. Anyways, so yeah, that was kind of a strange experience too, because that's really common over there to go to those places, and it was a little, weird to have a bunch of different guys all over the place, and kids too. It was just, not batting an eye of people just running around. It's definitely not something that everyone's probably gonna be into trying. And I was like, I gotta do this once while I'm here. But it was definitely a different type of cultural thing. It was like taking a bath with a bunch of strangers. You don't have to sit close to them, but still kind of awkward. Anyways, so yeah, I was just kind of thinking about that connection with the Goron and how they've got a lot of Japanese influence to them. Some of the other races are more, fantasy-ish. Like the Zora almost seem like they're kind of like elven. I know the Hylians look very elven, and the Kokiri have the pointy ears, but the Zora have the kind of like creepy, dark elvish influence, I think, where they're a little like hidden away and magical seeming. And the Goron would be more like dwarves because they live up in the mountain and mining. But in most of the fantasy stuff, dwarves are just after the rocks. I'm gonna let it go around because we gotta catch it on the next time anyways. Dwarves are mostly after rocks and precious gemstones and stuff just to eat them. Or just to collect them, sorry. But Goron at least have the nice reason of, that's how they live. They eat that stuff to survive. We got some fire keys around here. I'm glad that the enemies in this, in Ocarina, gotta be careful, these guys are gonna light me up. Luckily I've got my Hylian shield, so I don't have to worry about that burning away. But in Ocarina of Time, the torch slugs, I had forgotten, they kind of debuted in that game, and you had to put out their fire with the Megaton hammer, I believe, to take them out. So they're definitely a lot easier in this one. They're not as much of a nuisance. All right, this is pretty cool, though, the fact that we got these giant magnets that are normally supposed to be used to transport magnetic rock or, iron and stuff like that, I'm sure, but the use of them in this dungeon is to give Link a little boost. All right, head in here. We're getting close to getting the big item of this dungeon, as well as taking on the mini-boss to earn it. We've got some Tektites, another nice throwback to the old Zelda games. These guys have been around for a long time as well, longer than the Goron, because they were in the original. I'm gonna be careful here. I mentioned I missed the hints a little bit, not that you usually need them, because most enemies you can kind of just figure out through trial and error, but I missed the hints of the fairies and Fee and stuff from some of the other Zelda games. But at the same time, I think Midna's probably the best helper. She'll give you hints during bosses if you need it, but at the same time, she's not interfering on stuff as much. You can just kind of have her as a helper when you want her, and not, I think Fee probably the most egregious of the Zelda helpers for how much she interferes with the game. I do like Skyward Sword. I don't mean to complain about it, but I think Midna has a lot of character development. She's pretty interesting, and she also she just, doesn't interfere with your adventure as much as some of the others. But the thing I do miss about the fairies and Fee is that if I forget an enemy's name, I can just, lock onto them and get a little bit of a hint, and then we'll learn what they're called. But for now, we're just gonna have to try to remember the Toadpally are the ones that we saw earlier, the fire guy that shot a rock at me, that jerk. But we'll have more of them here in the future. And then the torch slugs are what those are called, fire keys. Lots of different enemies in this dungeon that'll all burn you up. So definitely, if you still have the Ordon shield, be real careful. Okay, now that switch, that's what we're really trying to get towards, that little crystal to open that door. But we gotta go all through these unusual methods of dropping off and falling into a magnetic thing, spinning around and landing over here just to get to this, because we don't have any items right now that can activate it from afar. But that's a little bit of a hint as to what we are going to unlock here very soon. Before the episode's over, we're gonna finish with that little mini boss battle. Grab this real quick, and I'm not gonna worry about that jar there, because I really want to make sure we get through here. All right, we got another new enemy here. These are the Beamos. Not as creepy as in Ocarina and Majora's Mask. They don't have crazy grimaces, but still very deadly. And got to be careful here. Your shield will help you a little bit, but not too much. That's just a crystal to get back out if you need to go through the door. What we want to do is head up this way and get by these things, because they're just going to blast us with their crazy lava beams otherwise. And there is another secret here. I think this is the second of the 2 heart pieces that you can collect, and I'm going to try to get all of them. Like I mentioned, we're going to I'm not gonna worry too much about like the Miiverse stamps and stuff, but I do want to get all the heart pieces. There we go. And if we head over, we kind of have to jump off, I think, and go on here. But we're gonna head over this side. We can't open that door yet, that little bridge there, because again, we're gonna need the special item from this dungeon. Walking when you're on a wall, the controls can get a little weird. The perspective will shift, and if you let go of the control stick, there we go. Oh wait, there we are. Yeah, I was gonna say, later we're gonna open those types of bridges with the item of this dungeon, but for now, we just gotta, climb up the walls like a little weird spider and just take him out that way. Oh, jeez, my boots! I have iron shield, not iron boots. All right, we're ready to go through here, and I think we're getting pretty close to the mini-boss battle. This is another thing that I like. The last dungeon we were in did this as well, but I love when the dungeons kind of take you outside a little bit so you don't feel like it's all taking place in this weird little pocket cave. We're going out into this canyon here. I'm playing Majora's Mask at the same time, and I'm almost done with that game. And this does remind me of Iconic Canyon a little bit, the way that some of this is set up. So they've done a little bit to mix things up. Like we're getting certain items, and like the iron boots, we're getting a little bit earlier than we normally would in games, and they're used for different stuff. So it's nice when they mix things up a little bit. We got a pot. Oop, don't mean to climb that. Those are just mostly for cover. I'm gonna grab these just in case we're missing any. No, we're good. Okay, we just got a heart piece, so I forgot we healed ourselves, but we do want to dodge these arrows. Now these Beamos, we can't do anything against them yet. This is one of those. It's also a thing that you see in Metroid. You get like a bunch of areas and a bunch of enemies that you can't really take on until later, and then when you come back, you feel like super powered when you've got the item that you need, the super missiles or what have you, to take them down. Okay, and I think we've got something. Yeah. Oh no, that's a different room. Let me quickly go. Ooh, jeez. Now this is you can try to run across on that one. I think that's pretty tough to do, or you can play it a little safer and use this one because it's got 3 spots. But another cool thing, this is a huge room that's mostly just there in case you fall off. You have to deal with the water down below. We're gonna play it safe instead of gunning it for the other side. But yeah, there's a giant pit below us with Tektites bouncing around that we want to avoid. And here we go. I think this is another one of the elders. Should be number 2. There he is. I like this guy a lot. He has a bigger role. And there's the what looks like the Kokiri stone back there. Kokiri emerald. How you doing, buddy? He's so frail.
Oh, the young human. I'm pleased to see you make it this far, brother.
He needs like a...
I'm one of the 4 elders of the Goron tribe. I'm called Ebizo. I can't hear you. Speak up. You've heard of the plight of our patriarch. Otherwise, you would not have come to see me. Here, take this, brother.
I like how he's his brother, too. All right, he's got dreadlocks. I wonder if that was on purpose. Okay, we've got 2 pieces now.
No, there's one more shard. But seeing you has reminded me of the dangers that line the path of it. There's something that may help you, a weapon, said to have been left in this mine by a hero of old. It's beyond price, and so we have protected it through generations. Now, when our tribe balances on the brink of ruin, it could aid in your salvation. The hero's weapon is safely stored up ahead. Talk to the guard and take it with you, with the blessing of the Gorons.
All right, we got another training area here. Towels and gear just thrown all over the place. And another little chest. Some of these handprints are small. I almost wonder if the mayor of Ordon made some of these, because they look like they're human hands, and all the other ones are huge. They could be maybe a baby Goron. Uh-oh. Here we go again. There we go. All right. This ladder seems more narrow than some of the others, but maybe it's just me. All right, guys. We've got 2 out of 3 of the elders rescued, or at least, talked to. They're still kind of stuck in here, but now it's time to take on the little mini-boss and earn the item that we're gonna need. There's another one of those dungeons where it's like, be real careful where you step, because if you fall off, you gotta take this whole trek again. I gotta go across that bridge, and, so make sure if you're gonna drop off of this magnet wall, it extends all the way over, but we don't have to walk that whole way. It almost seems like slashing can be a little faster sometimes because it lunges you forward, but probably evens out. There we go. I'm not gonna walk that whole thing, because all we need to do is head through that door, getting so many rupees. And we would have hit the limit here soon if we were playing the original. All right, guys, time for a little mini-boss battle. We're gonna need this thing. And someone is standing in our way. He's cool, but he's kind of a pushover. He did lock us in. This is our big test. We're gonna have to use our sumo skills in a magnetic arena. I love it looks like somebody painstakingly made a mosaic there.
Human, what business does a human have coming here? None. No business. This is a forbidden place. I'll protect this treasure from you.
This is Dangoro, and I almost think his name is kind of hinting at he's more round than some of the others, like a dumpling. All right, we gotta be careful though. Let's put on our iron boots. Now the key to fighting this guy is kind of lure him close to the side so you have an easier time. You could get knocked in, but it's easier to have him close to the side and just slice him when his guard is open and then grab when he's ready. There we go, and toss him back. Reminded me of fighting Bowser in Super Mario 64 a little bit, because we got this crazy arena. All right, I'm gonna try to lure him over to a different side here. He has a huge wind-up on his attacks, and make sure you're keeping your iron boots on most of the time, otherwise you're gonna get into some trouble. Here we go. Make sure you're close enough to hit him, and then grab him. Yeah, as long as you kind of tap and hold A when the grab thing pops up, you should be safe. Okay, one more time here. Oh, geez, almost fell off. We're okay. He's gonna try to give us the old punch. Maybe if he didn't wind up so much, he'd do a little better. And there you go. Out like a goat. He's burned his little bottom. I feel bad. He's just a big baby. He lost his helmet. He's nowhere near as threatening now. Kind of looks like Ludo from Labyrinth.
Oh, that hurt a lot. Who knew that humans were capable of such feats of strength? Mommy, maybe are you going to see the patriarch of our tribe? Can you get my blanket? Oh, so that's why you're here. In that case, take the weapon of the hero of the past. But in exchange, you must save the patriarch of our tribe.
All right. No problem, buddy. Just give me a little lava lift to the door, and we'll grab that special item. Thank you guys for watching. We're going to end out here. Next time, we'll finish the rest of the dungeon, and, we'll end out after we grab this thing. But next time, we'll finish the rest of the dungeon by taking on the boss. Look at him. Aw, he only has one tooth.
Oh, with skills like yours, even the patriarch can be brought back to his senses. Take the hero's weapon and save our patriarch.
No problem, bud. All right. He's got some crazy... Yeah, his look like they're drawn on more. He hasn't earned his tattoos yet. Oh, I'm trying to roll. I'm not trying to talk to you. He's just repeating himself all over again. All right. Here we go. Let's grab this thing and get on with the rest of the dungeon in the next episode. Thanks so much for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this. And uncharacteristically for the mountain area in the Zelda game, we're not going to get bombs yet. We are going to get something good that a lot of games you don't get till later on. It's the hero's bow. The treasure of the Gorons is said to have once belonged to a hero from the past. All right, and we can shoot with it. Pretty easy with the gyro as well. And we have 30 arrows. Let's set this on. Get rid of that slingshot. We don't really need the slingshot anymore for the most part. Get rid of that torch slug. All right, and like I mentioned before, there's another one of these bridge things, but now we can use this to hit it. There we go. Those ropes are a little thin. I'll get my aim improved here as we take on some torch slugs and some Beamos. We'll do that next time. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this, and I'll see you then. Goodbye!